today's episode of Soup for the Soul. We're going to make one of my all-time favorites, which is potato soup, and I want to show you just how easy it is. I know lots of you probably order this out when you're in restaurants, and you can make a huge pot of delicious potato soup that'll last you all week long. So let's take a look at the soup, and I'm going to show you some additional toppers that you can add to it. So this is what the soup looks like. It's creamy. It does have a milk base. And for those of you that are a little bit concerned about gluten, it does have flour added to it to thicken it up. So I wanted you to know that. So what I like to do is add a little cheddar cheese to the top because everything's better. And you'll see when we first start the recipe, we're going to render up 6 slices of bacon. So you just set that aside and you can use that as a lovely topper. And of course you're going to want to have some warmed up French bread on the side. And this makes a very hearty, very filling lunch or dinner time entree. Put 6 slices of bacon that have been cut into 1-inch strips into a heated soup pot. We're going to render the fat and actually brown the bacon. Takes a few minutes, and then we'll remove the bacon and drain off the excess fat. The bacon looks beautiful, so we'll remove the bacon bits and the excess fat. Leave a little bit in the bottom of your pan so that we can cook the vegetables. Add in 1 chopped onion and stir that around. I like to give onion a little bit more time than the other vegetables. You want them to start looking translucent, kind of glassy. And then we'll add in celery is next. Chop the celery pretty small. And this is 3 stalks of celery. You can use more if you'd like. Added a little bit of lighting to the situation so that you could see what we're doing. So let's stir that around. Smelling good already. Now you're going to add in some carrots. You can use 2 to 3 large carrots or a couple of handfuls of baby carrots and just chop them up small. And you'll notice that the vegetables are chopped pretty fine, and that just helps with the cooking time. Now let's add some seasoning. We've got Chef Paul Prudhomme's Vegetable Magic. I keep that in my pantry all the time. It's great to add this and let it warm up. That really activates the flavors of your spices. And don't put that seasoning away because we're going to use it again. We'll add in some salt. I use kosher salt for this dish. So just sprinkle in about half a teaspoon to a teaspoon, depending on your preference. And I did a couple of cracks of black pepper. Stir that around. And then we'll add 1 more seasoning before I put in the potatoes. Garlic is a great addition to this potato soup, and so we'll put in about half a teaspoon or so of minced garlic. You could do 1 garlic clove, and again, perfect addition to any soup. It has its own antibody components to it, so it's great during cold and flu season. So we're mixing all of that around. Kitchen smelling fabulous. I wish this video had smell-o-vision, but you'll just have to trust me. So now we're going to add in the potatoes. I cut these potatoes very small, as you can see, and again, that will cut down on the cooking time. I pre-cut them and covered them with water. If you're going to do some things in advance, potatoes have to be covered in water. So I drained them off, and now they're going right into the soup pot. And I just used russet potatoes. They really stand up well in this soup. But you can use whatever you have. If you had red potatoes or Goldens, they'll work well also. Just understand you're going to need the size of 6 medium russet potatoes. All right, we're just about ready to start adding our liquids. And what you'll need is some sort of stock. You can use either chicken or vegetable. I happen to just keep a case of chicken stock in my pantry. And yeah, I did sneak in some more Paul Prudhomme's Vegetable Magic. And I learned from watching him cook on videos, always season in stages. So here's your chicken stock. I added 2 quarts, which is 8 cups of stock to this soup. And listen, if you want it to be thicker, just back off on the stock. We were just making a huge soup for friends and family, and so I really wanted to make sure I had enough. But you can certainly get away with 6 cups. Especially if your potatoes are chopped small like these are. They're going to cook really well. So the next phase, after you get all of your liquids in, is we're going to bring this to a boil, reduce to a simmer, and of course cover, and leave this alone for 10 to 20 minutes. At the 10-minute mark, I would check and see if the potatoes and carrots are tender. After the soup has been simmering for 10 to 20 minutes, you're going to want to remove about half of the solid ingredients, add it to your Vitamix or blender, and we're going to puree this and add it back into the soup. So now let's add that pureed soup back to the soup pot and stir that around. And then we're going to add in a couple of thickening agents. You'll need a cup of milk and 3 tablespoons of flour. You'll see I'm going to mix that together, whisk it together, and add it to the soup. Another option is to take a tablespoon of cornstarch and 1/4 cup of water, mix those together, and create a slurry. So if you don't want to add this much flour to your soup, or you don't want to use whole milk, the slurry is a great option. And use that for gravies, any soups that you're making. The cornstarch slurry works well. So I'm stirring this in. We'll mix it all together and let everything warm up. And then we'll put the finishing touches onto this soup. I'm adding a tablespoon of parsley. And then the secret magical ingredient is 1/2 cup of heavy cream. So we'll blend all of that together and ladle up a big old cup of soup. Thanks for joining. Be sure and subscribe. See you soon.